Kevin Weeks had an interesting post.
Low Tide follows me.
Hey.
And he replied to one of my tweet the other day of was throwing bricks. That was so funny.
Kevin Weeks with this. As I've mentioned on here for almost 2 years, there are currently 32 teams, but with plenty of expressions of interest from many suitors hungry for a franchise, I wouldn't be surprised to see between 34, 36 NHL teams at some point. Interesting.
Okay. 32 teams.
That does tie in to our Sherwood Ford Giant question of the show. Shout out to Sherwood Ford the Giant, calling all car enthusiasts. Take your vehicle to the next level with Roush Performance upgrades. Available at Sherwood Ford, they offer an extensive selection of parts designed to unleash the full potential of your Mustang, your F-Series truck, or any other Ford model. From superchargers, cold air intakes, suspension kits, and more, customize your ride for a truly exhilarating driving experience with the Giant Sherwood Ford. If the NHL expands, I'm going to be pissed. The Sherwood Ford Giant question is, are you down for expansion? And I say, no, I am not down for expansion. 32 divides perfectly into 4 8-team divisions. I love that. 32 means half of the teams make the playoffs. I love that. We have a problem with maybe a little bit of a watered down product here in the NHL.
Big time.
Why do we want to water it down more?
Okay, so when would you... So he didn't put a date on it.
No.
So let's say they get to 34. What year is it? 2024.
Yeah.
Let's say they get there by 2032. 34 teams. We expand
in 8 years.
Within the next 10 years. How would you feel about that?
Angry.
Really?
The NHL, when you look at the big four in North America, they're clearly fourth. And,
Totally.
the MLS is nipping at their heels if it's not right there with them.
Arguably past.
Maybe past. Why did, like, it's a cheap paycheck, or it's an easy paycheck. It's not cheap. It's going to be billions of dollars. But, like, that's all the NHL is doing here is it's the owners being greedy and hurting their product. Going to 34, 36 teams, it'll give the NHL maybe a brief spike, because in those markets, it'll be like, whoa, if it's Atlanta, the NHL's back. If it's the others new markets, it's like, whoa, we got a team, exciting.
Yeah.
And then over the course of 5 to 8 years, it'll fizzle out into nothing. It is not good for long-term growth of the sport. I refuse to believe that. Refuse. The NHL already has a problem with the way they do their schedule. Edmonton playing Calgary or Vancouver. Edmonton playing Calgary or Vancouver only 3 times a season is criminal. And you're going to add 2 more teams. So what? You're going to play like every team twice and then your division 3 times? That sucks. It sucks. Expansion's dumb. Don't do it.
Well, they got to get back. They want to get back to Arizona. I should say they don't got to do it. They want to get back there.
Yep.
So then naturally you find a 34th because it's just easier to have an even number than an odd number.
Okay.
Of course. So
but like
you put one in the East. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just trying to walk through the process of it, of what the NHL clearly wants is they want to be back in Phoenix. They didn't want to leave in the first place. It took a long, long time. So that's inevitable. Atlanta, would they try that for a 3rd time? Like, I just don't think Atlanta's like a good base for a team.
Also, like if you're expanding from 32 to 34 and you're giving teams back to Atlanta and Phoenix,
totally,
that doesn't grow the game at all.
No, it doesn't. I do think Phoenix can work. I think the minor hockey in Phoenix is like way better because the Coyotes were there for so long, and it just like didn't translate into anything in the NHL because of just the way we all know the ownership was for years. I think it's inevitable. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen within like 5 years. I think this is like a 10-year project. 36. I don't even know where the other 2 teams would go because like people, wise Kyle, I think a couple of other people put it. Houston, Kansas, Milwaukee, Arizona, Austin. The problem is 4 of those 5 teams are in the West.
You also can't have 4 teams in Texas.
Who would be
Austin and Houston?
Oh, yeah. You
can't do that.
You can one or the other.
Also, I don't mean to be like a big wet blanket for the people saying Saskatchewan or Quebec City. That does nothing for the NHL.
I think it does nothing, yes. If they're going to put a team in Canada, I think they would just rather put, and there's nothing about this, just put 2 in Toronto, to be honest.
I did see an interesting line of thinking the other day.
Okay.
It was like a Simpsons meme that was turned into this format, but it was like the NHL sitting there. And they're like, boy, would we ever love to expand to 34 teams And you know how Bell just sold its last share of whatever to Rogers for $4.7 billion, and then it was Bell sitting there. Well, what are we going to spend this $4.7 billion on? And it was just like walking you to, oh yeah, 2 years from now, Bell has billions of dollars now at their disposal. Not that they ever didn't, but like they have this extra cash laying around. Do they not go to the NHL and say, we would like the second team in Toronto?
Right. That would make sense.
But like, no, again, I love people from Saskatchewan. I love Canadian hockey, but the corporate support there in Quebec wouldn't be there. The TV numbers probably aren't there either.
It's barely that in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And that's a market that loves hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in Canada loves hockey. It's just kind of general.
And well, that's the other thing too, is everyone in Canada already loves hockey.
Yeah.
If you want to grow the game, you don't do more in Canada.
Do you think they would? What would you prefer a relocation? And if that's the case, then where? Is it a team you would relocate to get back to Arizona?
No.
I don't know if that would be for me either, just off the top of my head. Because
No,
the markets that you would consider are doing well. Like the markets that shouldn't work do well.
Cody, the corporate support and TV audience wasn't there in Arizona. It didn't work in Arizona, but the Phoenix area is the first or third largest media market.
Yeah, I think it's third.
Yeah, third largest media market, TV market in the States. Fourth, okay.
LA, Chicago, New York.
LA, Chicago, New York, then Phoenix. So no. There's a TV market there. It just, you couldn't get into it. The corporate support is obviously there. Think of how like the Waste Management Open gets pulled off, all of that stuff. Yeah. Like it's a legitimate market. It's not Columbus. Shout out to Columbus. But you know what I'm saying, right?
I wonder if they would ever get relocated.
No. It's a strong local market. What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.